Good morning. I'm Tanisha Hudspeth, Teneshia, Hudspeth, Hudspeth, Harris County Clerk. Good morning and thank you for being here. There are 12 days of early voting upon us and 144 hours of voting opportunities. Harris County voters can vote at any one of the 88 vote centers throughout our county. So just days away from the start of early voting, Monday, October 21st through November 1st. So the first week of early voting, October 21st through the 26th, hours are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sunday, October 27th is noon to 7, and we've did additional extended hours the last week of early voting. So October 28th through the 30th, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. October 31st, which happens to be Halloween, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then the last day of early voting, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. We encourage that voters take advantage of this 12-day early voting cycle. Life is unpredictable. Voting early ensures voters have adequate time to vote and reduce a little congestion that can take place on Election Day. We've seen an increase in early voting. In 2020, the last presidential election, 76.9% of voters chose to vote early. I'm an early voter. A lot of our staff are early voters because we're working around the clock. So we encourage voters to vote. As of today, there are 2.68 million registered voters in Harris County. 2.68 million registered voters in Harris County eligible to vote in this election cycle. We encourage voters to bring certain items to the polls and make a plan. Part of that plan is going to harrisvotes.com and looking up your specific sample ballot. If you go to harrisvotes.com and click on the sample ballot tab, you can go place your name and address information to look at your specific ballot. Most voters will have anywhere from 50 to 70 different contests on their ballot. That sample ballot can be printed and taken inside the voting location with you to make your selections. Again, 50 to 70 contests on average, and 99.9% of our voters will have one piece of ballot paper to scan their results on. There's a small area of Missouri City that might have 2 ballot pages, but for the most part, the county will print on one print record, which is an 8.5 by 11 document. Here's another way that you make a plan to vote. Be sure that you bring your 7 forms, one of the 7 forms of acceptable IDs. Not all 7, but just one of those 7 acceptable form of IDs. You can get this information from harrisvotes.com. It includes any photo ID issued by the Department of Public Safety, and there's a reasonable impediment process if you don't have one of those documents. So again, in-person voting, if you're able to in-person vote, we encourage you to vote early. We take pride in ourselves making sure that not only voters are prepared, but that election workers are prepared. There are hundreds of trainings that have been taking place since the months of September to prepare all of our election judges, workers, and individuals who will make sure that this election process works. So as we arrive to early voting, not only do we encourage folks to vote early, we also expect everyone to go to harrisvotes.com or call our election hotline if you're not online, 713-755-6965. 713-755-6965. Now, part of the reason you're here today is to learn about what you need to know prior to voting, but we're also engaging you in our voter education engagement campaign. It's all about vote now, know how. Vote now, know how. And in a couple of weeks, voters will continue to see this engagement campaign to remind you there's an election. I think, a lot of coverage is showing that there's an election coming up, but we want to be sure of that. So today I have with me, and my extreme pleasure, to introduce Lee Vela with Clear Channel to come and help us unveil those billboards on today.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. On behalf of Clear Channel Outdoor, Clear Channel Worldwide, we're very, very pleased to be a part of this. This is the most important thing that we all, as citizens of Harris County and of the USA, can do, and that's exercise our power to vote. So we're going to be able to put these messages out. They started last week, going up throughout Harris County. There are 28 billboards in Harris County, including some on digitals, some on freeways, and most importantly, in the neighborhoods as well. And they're in the 4 languages you see here to my right. So particularly on the digitals, they're rotating through one English, one Spanish, and so forth and so on as the message is broadcast. So we're very pleased to be a part of this campaign to support what the clerk is doing in Harris County to reach all of the citizens of Harris County. So since last week alone, these billboards have already generated over 1 million market impressions. By the time we get to Election Day, they will have generated over 19 million market impressions. That means with 2.6 million voters in Harris County, we're going to reach them numerous times. So we're going to keep reminding them that it's your duty and your right to get out and vote and make your voice heard. So without further ado,
Yes.
Clerk, you want to come over here and then we're going to start on that end?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. Let's get on that end. I'll get on this end. And on three, grab a corner. On three. Good. Pull it out. 1, 2, and over here and do the same thing. 1, 2, and 3. These are just two of the various designs that we have up in the market, and we want to make sure that everyone sees them. So, Clerk, we're so glad to be a part of this.
Thank you. So as we continue to educate our voters across Harris County, many voters, this billboard and the campaign, whether it's digital, hey, you might be in a dentist's office, you might be in the gym, and you might see the Vote Now, No How slogan. So again, we thank you for your time today, and I will entertain questions. Right here.
We're right here in this new gigantic building, this new election. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on around us, what kind of preparations are happening here for Election Day and for early voting?
Yes. We are discussing where we're at right now. We are in our new election, Harris County election headquarters. And everything that is going on pertains to the upcoming election. So part of what you'll see today is our phone center who are answering calls around the clock, also taking calls from our election judges and clerks as they prepare for the start of early voting. We also have our signature verification and early vote and ballot board that are going through the process to make sure that they're looking through all mail ballots and make sure that mail ballots are accepted. You all will also see today where central count will take place on election night. This is our new home for at least the next 10 years. For a very long time, Harris County Elections has operated in many different facilities. Sometime our headquarters were NRG, and so now we have our own home base. NRG is still an early voting and election day vote center, but this is our new home. We're proud of it. It allows plenty of space for all operations and will allow for a little bit of growth in the coming years. So we welcome you all in today to see this facility because this is where we'll be election night. Thank you.
And, we're encouraging turnout. It's a presidential election year, so there are going to be a lot of votes and a lot of votes to be counted. How will this new facility help get those results out to Houstonians quicker on election day?
This new facility helps all operations to be under one building. For many years, operations for elections has been located in different areas of the county when it comes to the infrastructure on the inside of the house. And so this allows us to be in one unit. On election night, we will still have remote sites for election judges to bring items in. But this allows for better security measures, allow us to be able to make sure staff is safe and there's a functional process in place. So, bottom line is we outgrown all the other facilities. Harris County is growing each and every day. Along with that means more voters, which means we need more staff to be able to do the job. So that's part of the reason why you see this new facility. It allows for plenty of parking, and it's more cost effective as well. I want to say that, when going into this facility and preparing to get to this point, we wanted something that was more cost effective to the voters of Harris County and our taxpayers. There was a question over here.
What happens if you are a registered voter? You send your name on a computerized photo roll, but you haven't received your voter registration card yet.
Voter registration is the question. If you're a registered voter and I've not received that white and yellow voter registration card, I encourage all voters to go to Harris Votes and click on voter registration. You can simply search your name or address to verify that. If you've not received the card, you don't necessarily need the card to vote. You just need one of your 7 acceptable forms of ID. But if you want to verify to be sure, go to Harris Votes, click on the voter registration tab, look up your voter registration, and you can also call the voter registrar's office to be sure that everything is proper with your voter registration. Yes, sir.
Can you run through where to find the actual precinct where you're supposed to go vote? I'm just getting folks that are saying, I don't know where to vote. I haven't got my card. I don't know.
Well, you know why? Because you don't have to go to a certain precinct to vote. You can vote absolutely anywhere during early voting and election day. We have been voting countywide, which is a polling place program where you don't have to go where you're registered to vote. Since 2019, voters can go to any site of the 88 on early voting and any site on election day 700. And as we speak about that, you can go to Harris Votes and look at the early voting locations. Find maybe it's near where you drop the kids off from school or where you're going to work or go to shop, which is my favorite part, is shopping. And there's also a wait time feature that will be by every single location. Green, yellow, or red. Green means go. Yellow means there might be a little traffic. Red means there might be a line at that voting location. So we don't need, I know it takes time to unlearn the past, but no longer do voters have to, in Harris County, vote at the precinct in which they're registered on Election Day. Your precinct number is on that voter registration card or on the status when you look up online, but we want voters to get used to that you can go absolutely anywhere, not only during early voting, but on Election Day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there another hand? Yes.
You mentioned in 2020, the last presidential election, a good amount, I think you had 76% of people voted earlier. You're expecting the same thing this time around, and obviously you're encouraging that, right?
Yes, I do expect that there's going to be high turnout in early voting. We know that this is Harris County, Houston. We're still in, hurricane season, and many things can come up between that time. And so we do encourage, while we encourage early voting, I believe we're going to see a pretty good turnout those first couple of days of early voting. Might kind of level out Wednesday through Friday, and then that last week always picks up because those procrastinators who didn't get it done are going to be getting to those early voting sites and taking advantage of those extended hours. So I do believe we're going to see 70%, maybe even more early voting this election cycle.
The Secretary of State is expected to send monitors to Harris County. Are you concerned, and what would they be looking for?
I'm absolutely not concerned about the Secretary of State sending monitors. Secretary of State's office has been sending monitors for the last year that I've been county clerk and have been running elections. This has been welcomed. As a matter of fact, we brought the Secretary of State in to view all of our trainings and operations as we prepared for the last 6 successful elections. So this is not a problem for me. It's not a problem for our operations. We welcome them in. We look at this as a partnership to hold everyone accountable in the elections process. So they've already been here. They've come to see the facility. They've done walkthroughs. They've been a part of our logic and accuracy testing. And I look at it as a partnership to make sure that everything is accurate as we move forward. And if there's any feedback we need to hear, we'll get that from the Secretary of State. So we work with them each and every election cycle. Yes.
Have they provided feedback so far?
Yes, we've had feedback for several elections for the last whole year. Yes, and training, all the things that we've addressed over time, we've allowed for the Secretary of State to come in, give feedback. We've given them feedback. And so this has been a working dynamic. This is not a, you're doing something wrong dynamic. This is a working dynamic, right? And that's what we want. That's what the Secretary of State's office is here for, to support not just Harris County, but all the counties that run elections in our great state, 254 counties. Yes.
A couple of years ago, we saw problems with machines malfunctioning, polling locations running out of paper. But since you have taken over elections, those problems have significantly reduced. What measures are you taking to ensure your continued success in the election?
Here are all the measures we're taking to ensure the success of past elections and this election. One of the things we did earlier this year was purchase additional voting equipment to make sure that we have more than enough resources for this November elections and future elections. All those dynamics and all those pieces of equipment are tested and ready prior to working early voting, prior to Election Day. In terms of paper allocations, We addressed this a year ago. Our office did a software upgrade that reduced the amount of paper that voters have to print. So that is help for the dynamic. And we've ordered more than an abundance of paper. We have election techs in the field to be able to address where there might be record turnout that we weren't expecting, that if there is a need for paper, it will be there within minutes of time. And so what we have done to make sure we don't revisit some of the issues of the past is make sure that we are more than prepared, our allocations are up to speed, and that we really have over allocated for this election, expecting that it would be a huge turnout. So this is not new just because it's the presidential. We've done this since September 1st of 2023, and we'll continue to do that throughout this election cycle. Yes.
Mail-in ballots can be processed ahead, but those that are received early can be processed ahead of election day. How does that process begin, or when does it begin?
Yes, we have thousands of voters who've already voted by mail and returned their mail ballot. So October 25th, that's next Friday, is the last day that voters can apply for a ballot by mail. Thousands of voters have already requested their mail ballots. Mail ballots started going out late September. The first set of mail ballots that go out is overseas and military voters, those who are out of the country, maybe students that study abroad, those who are not going to be in the county before or on election day. And so many of mail ballots have already come back. And on election night, the very first set of results that you all will see, that we'll all see, are going to be those who voted early in person and those who vote by mail. So again, just a reminder for those who are 65 years and above of age, sick or disabled, out of the county on or before election day, in jail but not convicted. These are all qualifiers to vote by mail. Maybe you're a college student, right? And you're registered here, but you're in another county. You can apply to vote by mail. Maybe you're the mom who doesn't know if that baby is coming between early voting and election day. You qualify to vote by mail. So again, Friday, October 25th is the deadline for us to receive those applications in the office. harrisvotes.com, vote by mail tab. There's also a mail ballot tracker there. This is not connected to the USPS system. I'm only the county clerk of elections, not the USPS system. And so you should know that tracking guideline lets voters know when we received your application and approved it, when we sent your mail ballot to you in the mail, and when we received the mail ballot back. So again, Harris Votes really is our elections hubs here in Harris County, and we encourage all voters to go there or call our hotline 713-755-6965. Yes. Yes.
So I was hoping that you could comment on just, I mean, it just really makes this area unique, unlike any other location in the country.
Thank you for that question. One of the most exciting parts of our job is making sure that everyone has access to the voting process, especially astronauts. And here we are in Houston with one of the most amazing NASA headquarters. And so part of that is making sure that really everyone gets to vote. And so I can't go into great detail on how they vote, but look, our technology has come an extremely far way. NASA is able to provide security measures encrypted so that those astronauts can actually vote. And you all know they're delayed in getting back home. So that doesn't mean that they won't get to vote in this election cycle. This is actually not the first election cycle we've had astronauts to vote, but it is pretty cool that we make democracy work for everybody, even if you're on another planet, right? Thank you. Yes.
With a large turnout expected, how are you guys doing in terms of recruiting poll workers? Are you still looking for people?
We are working around the clock to continue to get poll workers. I can confidently say we're fully staffed for early voting. Election day is always that bigger footprint, right? 700 vote centers to vote at means 700 election judges, alternate judges, and election workers. Those judges are tasked with hiring their staff. We've included additional allocations so that they have more people to support them. And so we're pretty much staffed in all those areas of leadership. Those election workers will continue to recruit folks to work. So if you're interested, you can go to harrisvotes.com and go to election workers and sign up. We also had a really big cool job fair for election workers a week ago at one of our county facilities, where election workers that were interested came in and election judges were able to have dialogue and recruit right there in person. So we'll see how it goes between now and the next week or so. We might have another job fair to welcome folks in. Look, we say volunteer when you serve as an election worker, but you are paid to do so. And this is not, it's not only your civic duty to get registered to go vote, but take it the next step and see how elections really work behind the scenes. Sign up and consider to serve. So harrisvotes.com, election worker, apply today, and you might get that call to come serve this election cycle. Thank you. All righty. Thank you all so much for your time. The only thing I didn't say is buckle up. Election night going to be long.